Top marijuana advocacy groups consider merging amid fundraising challenges and leadership transitions. One of the nation's leading marijuana reform organizations is undergoing some major changes as it fights to restore a level of funding that has enabled it to help end cannabis criminalization in states across the U.S. And as that philanthropic support has gradually dissipated amid an increasingly challenging political and economic environment, the Marijuana Policy Project is now considering a variety of paths forward, including a possible merger with Normal. MPP hasn't publicized the fact that its executive director, Toy Hutchinson, recently stepped down and has been temporarily replaced by longtime senior staffer Matthew Schweik. But part of the reason for that silence is because the organization is still reconciling with the restructuring. MPP staffers revealed in interviews that the organization, at least for now, is suspending its ballot campaign arm, meaning it will be exclusively focusing on state legislatures due to financial restraints. As the organization considers next steps and seeks a permanent executive director, officials have also been engaging in preliminary talks between MPP and Normal about a potential merger, though nothing has been finalized. MPP was founded in 1995 before any state had even legalized medical cannabis. In the nearly 3 decades since its founding, the organization has helped put marijuana on the ballot and enacted legalization through diverse legislatures in numerous jurisdictions. I do believe that we were victims of our own success, Schweik told Marijuana Moment. We are highly effective. We've passed so many laws through so many states and so many ballot initiatives, and people just got used to our success. He said MPP is still in a strong position long term to maintain its current operations, and the rationale behind the restructuring is to ensure that we can operate effectively for years to come. So that's important to know, but if people want there to be a stronger MPP like we saw in the past, we're going to need philanthropic donors to return to the fold. It's not just sustainable to maintain the type of scale that we should have without philanthropic donors returning to help our costs. In the early days of MPP, through philanthropic donors were key to funding often expensive ballot campaigns. As the group puts wins on the board and businesses emerged in a seemingly lucrative new industry, the philanthropic support started to dry up. Schweik said that charitable donors asked the question, shouldn't operators in the newly legal cannabis industry step up and fill the gap? In certain situations, that has happened. There are certain cannabis companies that have been tremendous allies over the years in different states at different times, the MPP or an interim executive director said. But for the most part, it's proving to be very difficult to maintain the scale of MPP with a whole on-ballot initiative team, given the fundraising landscape. There's another factor behind the shakeup. While most Americans live in a state where there's some form of regulated access to cannabis, often thanks to the work of MPP and other organizations like Normal, grassroots funding to continue their work is not at a sustainable level. And convincing the everyday marijuana consumer that their small dollar donations could make the difference for people living under prohibition in other states has been challenging. It's one of the hardest positions to be in. When all the people that you need funding and resources from look at everybody else like, why should I have to do it? At the end of the day, we still have an industry that is not as inclusive to Black and brown folks as it should be. We still have people who are living every single day with the remnants of the war on drugs, both on their own personal records and what it did to communities, whole swaths of communities. And we have a reality right now where the benefit of stigma coming down is not translating into an increased understanding of how we need to continue this work. Hutchinson's no longer executive director of MPP, but she says that it is a mission that is so wrapped around my heart, there's no way I could let go of that. She is said to make an ethical calculation, continue to take a paycheck to represent the organization, or depart so that the team she admires and previously worked with as an Illinois state legislator fighting for reform could continue its operations, even in a more limited capacity. In conversations with Marijuana Moment, MPP staff expressed serious appreciation and respect for Hutchison, who they would like to see come back to lead the group if the currently tumultuous funding conditions allow for it. I think this, well, frankly, Toy left. I love how they say recently. I mean, it's been a few months, and they have not been speaking up that Toy has been gone. This industry is going down in flames, people. You need to open your pocketbooks and start giving. I mean, this whole apathetic idea that, oh, someone else is going to get it done. Well, the groups who have been leading the charge to get it done can't afford to get it done anymore. I mean, for everyone to just think that people are going to show up, normal's going to show up, MPP, NCIA, all these folks, there's no money. You don't want anything to happen in this industry, continue just the way it is, because all these folks are going out of business, and you are no longer going to have any advocates working for you in Washington. This is Gretchen for Hyatt 9 News.
Thank you, Gretchen. I appreciate that commentary. I want to make sure I'm the first person to respond to that before Jason mucks it up and says something, and then you got to go after him. I do want to say this, right? For everyone that's watching this, if you consider yourself to be a minority, if you consider yourself to be somebody that is excluded out of a lot of industries, I want to say this to you because I don't think that it's said enough, and I don't think that Gretchen even implied it. But I'm somebody who hears something, so it's hard for me not to say what I hear. When you hear these terms, industries being more inclusive to minorities, what you're hearing is them. That's just a dog whistle. No industry or government, you guys, our viewers watching, no industry or government can make anything inclusive for you. They could never do that. All right. First of all, they can never make any one particular person happy. It's on you to make sure that you are included. And how do you become included? You her say there are companies that have been fighting on our behalf and we haven't even helped them at all. How many of you watching donated $1, $5, anything to them whatsoever? Possibly nothing. So this is how you get included to anything. You actually have to start showing up, you guys. There's a lot of money that comes from out of our communities that benefits this industry more so than anything else. And if you really want to be included, you have to start leading with your pocketbooks. And it's going to take a lot of us to do it, but there will be no country, government, or state laws or industry that's just going to include you in something when they know that they're taking money from you and they're not really giving you anything that you couldn't get to yourself. So you guys ultimately are going to have to start reaching in your pockets, and I'm going to be one person to make sure I'm going to do the same thing.
Yes, that is true. But I mean, this Gretchen has been a situation that has been going on in the industry for since the industry has been considered an industry, as far as the lack of financial sophistication when it comes to putting money into the system in Washington to achieve an end goal.
Well, and I think a huge problem, frankly, with MPP has been because their work is so focused on the state level. That once a state legalizes, people are like, okay, job's done.
Done. Yep.
And they don't come back and
That
they
is
don't
true.
continue to give money. They don't realize that things are going to transition at some point. Their MPP got into playing the federal game. MPP is got into bed basically with USCC a few years ago, and I think that
Exactly.
also did not help with their
That did not.
continuation
I
here.
don't think that's going to help with their fundraising going forward either.
Well, and I know this is not a popular opinion of mine, but Rob Campia, the founder of MPP,
Yep.
for all his faults, was an amazing fundraiser. And when
was.
Rob left, they lost a very important part of that group.
Well,
And without him, they have not been able to raise the money at all since Rob is gone.
Well, Rob was holding all of the philanthropist, billionaire investors that were actually funding MPP in its very beginning, and so when he left, they basically left with him.
Big issue.
Yeah, it's a big
And that
problem.
goes to show too.
Yeah,
That some people will cut their nose off to spite their face. I don't think they should have got rid of him either. Anybody who's bringing in the money.
Yeah. Well, I think those people, because around the time when he did was when all the hype and hysteria was coming around, the excitement around the possibilities of legalization in so many different states coming online with adult use measures, that they were like, oh man, it's going to be so easy to raise funds now. We have all this momentum going, and so we don't really need them. And then all of a sudden, boom, poof. Now look at you guys.
Well, that's not exactly the reason why they dumped Rob. Let's not forget.
Oh, I know. No, I'm not trying to say that's
Rob
why they dumped
did
Rob.
a lot of
yes.
inappropriate things, and I'm not
for
suggesting
sure.
that he
That's
should
for sure.
stick around just because he could raise money. But when they're getting rid of their main fundraiser, they should have came up with a plan to actually keep bringing in the money. And I don't think
or they
that
should have just silenced his
looked at
role.
that.
They should have just silenced his role and just made him just the designated fundraiser.
Well,
And that's what I'm
if he
saying.
only had to interact with men, then perhaps that could work, but that didn't. I mean, Jason, I love Rob. Why? Because he is a wonderful political mind and strategist, But there was never a conversation I had with him where not an inappropriate thing came out of his mouth. And it takes a lot for me to be offended. Hello, clearly I'm friends with you.
Well,
So
hold on, wait a minute. Someone offended you? I will defend your honor.
thank
You
Yeah.
you. I
tell him
appreciate
now, I challenge him to a duel.
I
We will
bet.
meet at high noon,
Yes.
high at 9 news at noon,
High on the
and we
hill.
will have a smoke off.
High on the
But
And
hill.
challenge him.
like the only thing truly the only thing I appreciate about the Obama administration was their ability to bring people together to get the money. If it was $1, if it was $5, that man knew how to fundraise,
He
and we
did.
need him back working with cannabis to help people understand that $1 does go a long way. If we get a lot of little $1 donations, $5 donations, that could keep legalization
You know
efforts
what?
going in certain states.
You know
And
who's
it's
the
just
king?
crazy.
You know who's the king of that, actually, Gretchen? And you know who they should probably hire? They should probably hire Bernie Sanders' fundraising team to work on MPP on all their fundraising, because that's probably the largest member of government that is able to raise off of those small dollar donations.
I concur.
Well, while I appreciate Bernie's support and bringing cannabis into the national conversation, the man hasn't sponsored legislation. He is not putting his mouth where his money is
No,
at all.
I was
So,
just
Bernie,
referring.
you want to step up for this industry? Go for it, Bernie, before you die. What the hey?
No, what I'm saying is that MPP needs to go after and hire the people
I
that are
understand
doing
what
his
you're
fundraising.
saying. I got it.
Okay, that's all.
I understand.
Okay, just want to make sure I'm not confusing you.
I got a lot up here. A lot you don't give me credit for, Jason Beck.
Stop it. I give you credit all the time, Gretchen. I think you're
Yeah,
fabulous.
suck it. Rochelle, what do you think of the lack of fundraising in this industry?
You with us, Rochelle?
Can you hear
Can
me,
you hear
Rochelle?
us, Rochelle?
Ro,
I don't think she hears us.
Rochelle, we talking to you. Can you hear us?
I couldn't hear what Gretchen was saying.
Gretchen said, what do you
What do
you
I
couldn't
think?
hear anything
Well,
you said?
I heard her story, but then the commentary I could not hear.
Weird.
All I'll say is that it's always been my feeling that the advocacy in our industry has been, for lack of a better words, disjointed. And so I always feel like we are stronger when we band together. And the fundraising challenges are not, only in cannabis, it's across the board. Charitable giving is down because we're in a strange economic climate, to say the least. So, I mean, I think it's a smart move.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it's silly to think, we always talk about consolidation happening across the industry, that it wouldn't happen to all these groups here in Washington either. Consolidation is coming. They cannot continue to sustain that the way that they are. I don't think NCIA is going to survive much longer.
Nope.
I think you're going to see some other folks folding.
That's true. And Gretchen, I think it would be a terrible move if MPP was to merge with Normal, and I think that would just contaminate Normal and a lot of their grassroots efforts if they allow MPP to come in, and especially when it's being controlled by CESC.
Well,
Or
I
USCC,
might slightly
excuse me.
disagree with you there, Jason, because I think MPP's been a lot more has accomplished a lot more with their grassroots efforts than Normal ever had.
Normal has the largest database of people.
I don't give a shit
in it.
about database. I give about wins in the legislature, and Normal has zero.
That's a fair
MPP
point.
is the ones who've been pushing ballot initiatives across this country.
They have been
for
doing
the past
that
30 years.
That point is true, but you can't push a ballot initiative on the federal government.
Well, let's start taking some money.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? All right. We're gonna go to a commercial and we're gonna be back. Unless you have something to say. You have something to say? Please go right ahead, Gretchen.
Oh, I always got something to say.
Well, please.
People, it is so basic what you need to do. Nobody needs to give $1 gazillion. You just need to give a little something. Show up with your time. Show up with a letter. Call a representative. Just show up. That's what this industry needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can have maybe before we go commercial, maybe we can have our people in production put some information towards donating in our links. That way people can actually access the links from our platform and be able to go and donate. You guys watch and listen. You do not have to be rich. You can really just donate $3, $5 minimum. And for a lot of you guys out there, I know you have $5. So if all of us just chipped in and just gave $5, we would really do a service for ourselves. A lot of us are sitting back waiting for someone else to do the job, and the mess is in front of us now. We can all just get in, chip in together, and clean it all up.
Oh, that's a beautiful thought, Tony, but it's not reality. But nonetheless, we got to go to a commercial. We're going to be right back.
How's it going, guys? Saman Razani coming to you from Green Street here with Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast available on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify? Tune in now and check it out.
Well, go ahead, Gretchen.
Jason Beck, let's keep this conversation going. Have you ever given $1 to these people?
I've done lots of things with this, but I would not give one single dollar to MPP for anything, ever.
Why is that?
Period. Because I don't think that they do. I don't think they do well with the money that they spend. I'm not a fan. Not personally. I would not give MPP $1 of my money.
Well,
who would you give your money to, Jason?
Yeah, who do you like?
So there's a few different organizations that I like. In regards with organizations that are working on federal policy, I don't think there's like one single one in regards to that. But if I was donating money, I would focus on criminal justice reform. I would focus on Weldon Angelo's project, Mission Green, Freedom Grow, Can Do Clemency. I would focus on those organizations that are working on the criminal justice side, because the reality of it is that all of these other organizations that are trying to push on federal legalization or whatnot are just, in reality, don't have the best interests of the people I feel that are actually going to be contributing those small increments of money. And that's why I encourage, if you want to have an effect on federal legalization, your business needs to join a trade organization and get in board that way.
I think we should follow Tony's suggestion, and we should put up another section to our website of different organizations people could give to. And just
I have no problem. I have no problem with that. I'm totally fine with that. I don't have a problem with putting the stuff up there so people have an access point of where to reach it, so that they can donate it if they want to.
They can see all the various groups and who they might want to give to.
I am totally down with that. I'm 100% down with that. I'm just saying, me personally, there's not a chance I'm giving $1 to MPP. Just me personally.
I mean, that's cool that you have your personal preference, but I still think that we should offer it to as many, because for you may not like some specific that you feel like they didn't do, but I'm sure that there are people out there that do appreciate what they've done.
I agree with that. I agree with that. That's why I said I have no problem putting the information out there and the links to them on the website. I have no problem with that at all, whatsoever. But I'm speaking
and for
as
those
me
who
as an
might
individual.
be interested in giving to MPP, and I'm not saying you should or you have to. One thing I liked about I have given money to MPP in the past. What I enjoyed about giving money to them is I got to choose where I wanted it to go. So if they're like, if you want this for efforts in California or Michigan, whatever, you could pick which market they were working on. And they always had a number of initiatives they were doing. So.
Oh, man, we have a special guest joining us right now. Oh yeah. What's up, bro? Good morning.
Who we got? Is it Smokey?
Oh no, it's Matthew St. Germain. He is in the building, live and direct in LA. He's gonna come on. I just turned his mic on. He's gonna come in and say hello. But I'm gonna tell you what, I have a long story for you, Gretchen. I'm just warning you ahead of time, okay? Because I already know you're gonna say something. But
dude, abbreviate it. I abbreviate all my stories.
I'm gonna do my best, but I didn't have time this morning to do all that. I was on a late start,
let me just tell you, just chop it in half right now. All the important stuff's at the top.
That's what I was gonna do. I was only gonna read.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember your first lesson. The nuts of the story are the first two paragraphs.
The nut graph. It's not the nuts.
It's the nuts of the story are the first two paragraphs, Gretchen.
You're such a dude. All right.
Wait, are we ready for the nuts of the story?
Yeah, you want to hear the nuts of the story? Yeah, here you go.
Oh, Saint Germain, put your nuts away. It's too early for that.